Welcome to Community Forum, brought to you by Citizens Against Teen Suicide and Bullying Abuse. Our show is a call to action for families and community members. You'll be hearing from local and national authorities during the upcoming weeks on all aspects of bullying, abuse, and related issues. As we like to say, we've recruited cool speakers to cover hot topics. However, although we will have a variety of speakers, each program will have the same theme. The CATS theme, affirming the precious gift of life through awareness and compassion. The program will be informative and takeaway tips will be offered by each speaker. We hope that our program will inspire you to be an upstander and not a bystander when it comes to dealing with bullying and any other form of abuse that you may witness. And now to Dr. Ray Anticico, Executive Director of CATS and our host for today's program.
Welcome to another segment of Community Forum. I'm Ray Anticico, your host for today's segment. And as always, as we love to say, we have another cool speaker on a really hot topic. And we're not going to take any more time, but we're going to turn to that cool speaker. And believe me, you're going to be delighted in listening to this delightful person who's also very knowledgeable and very informative on her topic. She's none other than Pam Graham, and she represents Alternatives for Battered Women. And welcome to our show, Pam. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you, Ray. I'm really having a great time with you all today.
We've been having some fun here behind the scenes with all not histrionics, but all the machinations of what goes on in the studio, huh? Yeah, it's kind of different. Pam, you're going to be speaking today on what topic?
Well, healthy relationships.
With
an emphasis of what an unhealthy one looks like, and then what a dangerous one looks like.
Well, you know, that's interesting. They say when the FBI, if I could go there for a second, or is it the Treasury Department, I should say, when they're training their agents on recognizing money that is counterfeit, they don't so much have them study counterfeit money, but they have them study the real thing.
Oh, cool.
Right, because if you know the real thing, you can, of course, pick out the unreal. And it seems to me you're taking kind of the same approach here in a way that If you know what a good, healthy relationship is, then by contrast, you'll be able to recognize one that isn't.
Absolutely, Ray. And the thing that I've noticed over the last 20 years with working with people in dangerous relationships, that in fact, everybody has kind of a good grasp on what a healthy relationship is, but not everybody feels they are worthy of it. It's we're coming from a home where we don't feel like we're worthy of that love or we're deserving it. If something's happened in our past that we think, oh, gee, because you've been in recovery or because you've had that challenge as a kid or as a teen or as an adult, you're not worthy and you better settle. So we need to really talk the talk and walk the walk in the place that we all know that not only do we know what a healthy relationship is, but personally we know we've got that right to have one. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can't help but way I relate to things, perhaps, but I can't help but also thinking of Neil Sedaka's old song that we probably all, as teenagers, somewhere along the line, grew up with. Remember, breaking up is hard to do.
It is.
When do you know when it's the right thing to do?
Well, you know what? When you're not in fear of leaving. When you start to assess your relationship, you know what? If you're in a relationship that you're just not feeling good, that you're there but they're not, that you're supportive but they're not. When that stuff, somebody lies or they cheat like a card player, lie like a rug, like my grandma used to say. When that stuff starts to happen, we don't have to wait around for that to get better. We don't have to fix it. We've got the personal right. But the odd thing, Ray, is as children we're taught to stop, drop, and roll in preschool. We're taught a lot of information from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade health class, but we're not taught how to break up. We have a personal right to break up. We don't have to settle. We don't have to ignore it, and we don't have to take it to the dark place. We all have a personal right to use our voice and say, this relationship's just not for me, and that's not going to change, and I wish you well. And the more we get based to support people in doing that, because this is a place we talk our friends into staying. We need to support people from leaving.
Yeah.
And then we need to kind of format it in a way that we can start to figure out how they're feeling. If you got a friend who was going to break up 2 months ago and they're still there now, you might want to say, hey, how'd that breakup go? If they say, oh, I didn't break up because they just didn't know what to say, then you're going to practice with them. This relationship is not for me. I wish you well, right?
You're going to coach them a little bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
and practice it, because the more we do it, the better we get at it.
That's the hard
And
part.
we need to be good at
You
this.
know that it's over.
Absolutely.
But how do we, in fact, implement that
Yes.
knowledge and make sure that it's
Be
over
supportive and work it out.
And draw on the support of friends. Go ahead.
But now, Ray, the one thing that I also want to emphasize, if
Yeah.
we say to that friend, well, what was that breakup? I knew you were going to break up 2 months ago. And they say, well, I'm still here. And you say, well, what's going on with that? And they say, oh, well, I tried to break up, but it turned out to be a nightmare. They threatened to harm themselves. They followed me everywhere.
Oh, okay.
They made me feel terrible about breaking
Yeah,
up.
put the guilt on you.
This is the place
Yeah.
then that we move into the realm of dangerous relationships where
Sure.
dating and domestic violence happens. So if you have a friend who's saying, I'm fearful, if you have a friend saying, oh, but it's good again, you can say, oh, good, I'm glad it's good enough, but good again. But if it ever gets bad, I want you to know that this is a safe place that you can talk to me. Because abusers will weave in the good along with the ugly,
Sure.
along
The
with
whole-
the
to
good,
the
the
whole
love,
person.
the tension,
Yeah.
and the abuse.
Yeah, very, very excellent. You can see that Pam knows what she's talking about, and to say the least. And she's going to be right back here, challenging us and talking to us about these issues. And so we're coming right back, which means if you've listened to this show before, this is your time to gather the family, get a little notebook, perhaps be prepared to take notes, and at the end, after a talk, Pam's going to be right back here, and we're going to share. She's going to share 3 tips or takeaways for you from this very hot, important topic. Our cool speaker, Pam Weaver.